Here we are, preparing.
Oh, we're live, right?
We're live now, yes.
Now streaming live on YouTube.
Okay. Let's start the Board of Commissioners meeting by saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will recess to solid waste. Bill, you are up.
All right, thank you. Do you want me to run through the agenda of resolutions and everything, or?
No, I'll go ahead and do that.
All right.
Did you have any opening remarks or anything?
I did not. This should be short, sweet, and to the point.
All right. Move to approve the minutes, July 23rd, 2020.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Move to approve the July 30, 2020 bills as presented by the county auditor.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Move to approve the July 30, 2020 then and now certification as presented by the county auditor.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
All right, Bill Brimfield, I guess is all we have.
Yeah, Brimfield yesterday approved the contract 2-1. I did notify their attorney that the contract language is fine with us. Their attorney was, as you know, I spoke to him a couple weeks ago trying to hammer out the 33 different points that we wanted to discuss in the contract. It's my understanding that the trustees will have them or have him send them that contract in Word document. They will sign it, give us their resolution, and then bring it to us. I'm going to put the resolution on my agenda for next week. I'm out of the office next week. However, I will be at next week's meeting. There's going to be a topic that we're going to need to bring to the board. So I will remote in from home. But I did notify, usually when I email their attorney about the language of the contract, I've copied Chris Maduri on it. Chris sent me an email. He was good with the contract, so we're good to go. We're just waiting on the paperwork to get signed into us, and then we're done.
Good, great.
And that's it.
Okay, I move to adjourn solid waste.
I'll second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Oh, one more thing real quick. Don will be attending next week's meeting as well.
Okay.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
You too, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll resume the Board of Commissioners meeting. Water resources. Jean, do you have any comments on this journal entry?
One journal entry, maybe a little background. There are several occasions when meters are failing, not reading, and letters are sent out not once but twice trying to gain access. And in the rules and regulations, if somebody fails to provide a scheduled time for us to get in, and even in extenuating circumstances, we'll work around the homeowner or business owner schedule. They never communicate backwards, then a 1.5 multiplier is put on. So they're paying 50% more. And with doing that, the intent is to get their attention. Well, with the people being more at home, I guess, with the COVID-19, we've had a couple of these where they've called to get the meter changed out. Our problem is we would prefer never to enter anybody's home for their safety and for our employee safety. So what we're asking for is to actually forgive that penalty during the balance of COVID and then restart the process, notifying people by letter that they have to get us access. And then if they do not after the COVID and receive the letters, we'd go back and put the multiplier back on. So all we're doing is suspending it during the COVID.
Okay. Move that the Board of Commissioners approve suspension of the requirements effective March 4th, 2020 charging 150% of previous meter readings as set forth in the Portage County Water Resources Rules and Regulations, section 1406, period 11, when customers call to schedule meter replacements and the county elects not to enter a customer's home for the safety of the customer and the county employee. Once the emergency identified as the pandemic has been lifted and the customer has been notified to schedule the meter replacement, then the customer will have 30 days to schedule, or the language in section 1401.11 will again apply, resulting in the customer's bill being increased by 50%.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Joanne, are you with us?
No, not yet. She's not. She's gonna come on for about another 7 minutes. Let me see if I can get her. Hey, Joanne, can you log in? We're ready for you. That's okay. All right. Bye.
Are you there?
We're here.
We're
All
here.
right.
Hi, Joanne.
Good. Good morning. Sorry about that. You guys are moving fast
Hey,
today.
we're quick this morning.
I think that's always a good thing. Okay, my first resolution is for the county engineer. They're getting rid of a couple of vehicles. And I wanted to make sure that I also tell you that this is now a live bid online auction versus where they used to have the people actually come to the auction site.
Oh, wow.
So there are some modifications to the resolution that the prosecutor's office wanted, but it is only stating that they're live bid and it's where it's taking place on the auction site. Tina had some of that in the resolution, but yesterday we got some more verbiage from the prosecutor that wanted to add a few more things, just saying that you can view it on their website, and anybody that wants to bid is urged to go to the bid site to do that. Nothing more changes in the resolution, but I wanted to make you aware that he wanted to change up the resolution a little bit.
Okay. Move that the Board of Commissioners authorizes the sale of obsolete equipment by public auction for the Portage County Engineers Office.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
All right. The second resolution is for a license agreement for the Reminderville Police Department using our Coit Road training facility.
Okay.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into license agreement between the Portage County Commissioners and the Reminderville Police Department.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Julie?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
All right, and then the journal entry is our standard retrospective review, and we're not changing it. We're doing the same thing. This last year, we saved a credit to our account of $227,832. So we're just want to keep it at the same rates as last year. And Michelle is going to turn that in for us and continue to monitor and hopefully save as much next year or more.
Sounds good. Move that the Board of Commissioners authorizes Michelle Crombie to sign the online renewal application to continue the Bureau of Workers' Compensation Individual Retrospective Rating Program beginning January 1, 2021, with no changes at the same $200,000 maximum cost per individual claim limit at 150% maximum premium as presented by the Director of Internal Services.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
And then I just have one other thing that I wanted to see if I could add. I wanted to talk to you just a minute about, we just received a retirement notice from one of our maintenance men that is going to be leaving on August the 14th. Is a maintenance worker too, that takes care of the cleaning primarily in the administration building. And I would like to start the process to replace him. And I didn't want to wait until next week to bring it all up to you. I wanted to get that process started, recognizing the fact that we've got, there's forms and everything that you have to sign. But last time we had only one person apply, and hopefully if we can leave this out a little bit longer, then we'll get, hopefully some other people that will want to work here. So I wanted to bring it up, let you know that we have a person leaving, and to just let you know that I wanted to get started with HR, the paperwork.
Okay, that's good, Joanne.
Sounds good.
All right?
Yes, yes.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Hey, you too.
Bye.
Todd, are you there? He's dialing in.
Yes.
Okay. Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, July 3, 2020 bills, ACH payments as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, July 30, 2020 wire transfers for health benefits as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie. Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, July 30, 2020 journal vouchers as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
I will second.
Roll call, Julie.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to approve the Thursday, July 30, 2020 then and now certification as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Julie.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Todd, do you want to comment on 5?
Yeah, this is typically the month-end non-general budget amendment. There isn't anything out of the ordinary in here. You'll notice EMA, that's setting their budget up for what you had already talked to Ryan about. There's a couple of road projects that Mickey's beginning work on, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Okay.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to amend the non-general fund 2020 annual appropriation number 19-0948 adopted December 19, 2019.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Julie.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Okay. The journal entry is pretty standard too, right, Todd?
Correct, yes.
The Board of Commissioners, move that the Board of Commissioners signature requested on the satisfaction of mortgage for Mary Willett of 260 Lincoln Avenue, Ravenna, Ohio, 44266, to secure payment of $12,100. The original document will be recorded by Neighborhood Development Services, Inc.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Julie.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Okay.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, Todd, nothing on the expenditure review. That's all. No questions. Sabrina, do you have anything?
Yeah,
on it?
no, everything
Okay,
everything was in normal. I think this is a little bit of a light week,
okay,
and everything fit within normal parameters.
okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Have a good day, Todd.
You too.
Ah, Sue is here.
He's muted.
Hmm,
She has video. She was uploaded to a panelist, so she should be popping up here.
okay.
Okay. I see you. You just got up. Did I find it? Door?
No.
Well, Amy, hi.
Hi there.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you guys too.
Did you see my husband? Amy,
No.
he was supposed to have been over there too.
Can you call Sue, Amy, to see
Oh, sure. Yeah.
what the problems are here?
Was on.
Maybe she went back.
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes early. Maybe she didn't.
Can you give me that purple thing?
Hello?
Ah,
Hi, I'm Kelly Jo. We could hear you this whole time, but we couldn't talk to you.
okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Okay, great. It was on the bottom.
But
We had
it says,
technical difficulties.
it says Sue Branham though.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I cannot access Zoom through my agency phone or my laptop, or my desktop doesn't give me any sound. So Sue
Wow.
has success on a very old phone.
Okay.
So I'm first, if that's okay,
That's
unless,
fine.
oh, unless, okay. I will start with my JFS April and May data report.
Okay.
On page 1, as you can note, from April to May, we had about 600 more people qualify for food assistance.
Mhm.
But you can also see that the issuance was about $1.1 million less. So we are outreaching to the state to see if that's accurate, because this data is driven from ODJFS. But I just wanted to let you know that we see that reduction. You would assume that if the individuals that qualified went up, so would the issuance amount. So I
Right.
will
I
update you.
I
Yeah.
had a question mark beside that because I didn't think that was logical.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, if you'd flip to page 2, unless you had questions on anything else on page 1,
No.
our customer service center, April from May, you can see a reduction in about 7,000 calls. I would correlate that to efficiencies. We're shared services with 5 other counties, and our call volume has been excellent lately. So, and the numbers reflect that.
Like 700, right? Not 7,000.
Did I say that? I'm really tired. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
700.
Okay.
In the benefit recovery section at the bottom,
Mhm.
you'll see that there's really minimal calculations. And why that is we are not permitted by ODJFS to take any negative action on individuals at this time. So behind the scenes, my investigators are just prepping packets. So when the ODJFS allows us to start putting those claims in, then we'll be able to do that. But that's why you see a significantly lower amount in what's been calculated.
Okay.
Okay. Ohio Means Jobs on page 3, just drawing your attention, which you probably are already aware of, the unemployment went from 14.7 in April to 11.1 in May. I don't know if we've seen June numbers yet, but we're doing really well. Ohio Means Jobs has seen about 50 individuals in the center each week since we opened. So definitely people are feeling comfortable. They're accessing services to employment leads, getting assistance once again with resumes. Really appreciative that we reopened that office. I don't know if you have any other questions on page 3. I would move to page 4 then, and just reflecting on some changes. The impact program again was the program that replaced the passages where we help obligors to find employment and get connected to services. So they have been very aggressive in that arena. Well, you would think from a referral to 4 isn't a lot. It really is, because we've not had a great acceptance rate from our obligors. So it's getting better in that space. On the bottom of page 4 and also on the top of page 5, those are state participation rates related to individuals that receive public welfare benefits and are required to participate in a work and training. Our participation rates are so low because of, and in part because of the stay-at-home order, families not wanting to go to work sites. You know, they were told to stay home during a period of time. So we expected that this would be a decrease in our participation rates. And again, that's 4 and 5. The bottom of 4 is single parent households. The top of 5 are 2-parent households. Both of them, we see a reduction in participation. In the CCMEP space, our youth involved in case management, we've steady 206 youth we're serving at the end of May. And then in the children's services world on page 6, at the end of May, we had 213 youth in custody. It hovers about 210 today. We saw a decrease and then it started to spike back up again. We project that if schools do open their doors as they're releasing their plans now, that we will see a significant increase in referrals. And I'm ultimately believing we're going to see an increase in kids coming into our care again, because we've not seen a lot of these kids over the summer to check on them because we haven't had the referrals that we've had in the past. Regarding residential treatment, in 14 as of May, as of today, we have 11. It should be noted though that of those 11, 7 of those youth, and I'm going to break this out too, are kids that are remanded into our custody from juvenile corrections. So 7 of the 11 youth in residential treatment programs are what we call JCA youth. And so again, I'm going to break that out so we can see the difference in a future report. Questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. And then nothing significant to report. On the human resources side, as of May, we had 200. Today, we have 193.5 employees. So you'll see again, this report is always a month out because the ODJFS doesn't give us data right after month end. We have to wait like 6 weeks to get it. So that's why we're always like 6 weeks out with this report.
Okay.
And that was it with the data report, unless you had questions, follow-up questions.
No, good.
Okay. The second one was just a flyer. It doesn't give a lot of substance right now. It's more like a save the date flyer, but because of COVID-19, we had to roll back many of our outreach programs. But we felt it was really important to sustain the transportation forum and our job fair in light of everything. But both of these events are going to be virtual events. So we're going to create a virtual forum relevant to transportation services in the community. And then we're going to do the same virtual interviews and connections to employers with our Ohio Means Job Center. So the transportation forum is slated to roll out in September and our job fair in November. Questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Third was just an update. I don't know if you had a chance to read the newspaper today, but we were
Yes.
able, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Great.
had an exceptional meeting yesterday with Secretary of State Ben Carson. We did not know that he was the official coming until when I emailed you all, I think earlier this week. But he was, so basically what they passed on a federal level was a voucher program last year. This was the 1-year anniversary for vouchers that are available to foster care youth to go into subsidized housing. And so I don't know if you again got to see the pictures, but 2 of our foster care youth that just emancipated for our custody have benefited from the program. They're living in metropolitan housing apartments as a result of this voucher program. So I don't know the history, but out of the sky, they touched Portage County and he decided he wanted to come here and look at what we're doing. And it was a really great meeting. He talked a lot to the youth, which I thought was really impressive. He talked about the 10, 12 jobs he had over his career span and just a lot about empowerment. And despite what individuals' pasts are, we can always define our futures. And it was I was very impressed. I always give a plug for more communication and more funding, but I did tell him on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I welcomed him to the community.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely told him I thought this was a phenomenal program and we hope that we can continue to have federal programs trickle down to the local level. So he was exceptional. When we get more pictures from the press, we'll share them, but it really was a nice event. I was really glad they highlighted it. Any questions or comments on that?
You know, Kelly Jo, I don't have a question, but I thought it was so important that he emphasized that time when a child is released and there's really no place for them to go. They could become homeless. That's such a
Right.
critical time. And this program is addressing that, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And he pointedly asked one of our youth that just emancipated, Desiree, about how she was feeling when it was coming time for her to leave custody. And she talked about the anxiety and the fear and not knowing if she was going to end up in a shelter. And then she also told him she was really excited because the apartment she has allows for her to have a pet. 2 dogs, yeah. So, I mean, but if you think about it, if you don't, that's your support system. I know how close I am with my animal, and that really meant a lot to her. So yeah, it was an exceptional opportunity. And again, it put Portage County on the map, and Portage Metropolitan Housing they're just a phenomenal team too. So we're committed to increasing those numbers and working together more in the future, but it was a great experience for the youth and for all of us.
Yes. Kudos.
Great.
Yes.
Yep. Budget update. We have yet to receive our budget from Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. On a Monday call with Director Hall, ODJFS director, she said it has been finalized, but she is yet to give us a date when it's coming out. We do know, and Sue's in the background, she's just on the other side of this table, that we're going to see some reductions in Medicaid. And they did initially cite that there would be $52 million in reductions to the child welfare support programs. Those are all these new programs that we talked about. But she also said in that same vein that they thought that they were able to find funding to possibly fill some of those holes, but she didn't go into great detail. So we initially knew there was that significant of a cut. And then she said they're trying to do as much as possible to make those whole again. So when it becomes available, I will share it with you. I told my union I'd share it with them. We're not hiding anything. We just don't know anything, definitively at this time. So I just wanted to give you that update that we don't have it yet. Okay. So the JCA, this is a lead into just a discussion and seeking some of your feedback as to what you would like me to do, or actually if you would support me in something. So JCA kids, again, are youth that are involved in the criminal justice system. And many of these youth, if not the vast majority of them, have a history with child welfare. You can, just from a analysis standpoint, a lot of kids struggle with barriers, at home issues, familial issues, correlates to a lot of dysfunction, behavior issues, and then kids end up acting out and then connected to the juvenile corrections systems. So with that being said, we've had ongoing conversations with the courts about alternatives to residential treatment. And in part because studies show residential treatment long-term is not the best environment for youth. There's abuses and things that go on there. They're not in community. Oftentimes the families aren't able to participate in a clinical setting because of the location. I think I've talked to you guys a little bit about this in the past. So our attorneys met with Judge Berger and his team last week. It was our typical quarterly meeting, but we had a really in-depth conversation with him about us being able to provide alternatives in hopes that the court would support those, and that right off the bat, residential is not the first option. Because of the needs of children and also because of the financial impact that it has had on JFS's budget. The average residential cost, per diem cost for a youth in residential is $235 a day. And last year, out of the $3 million that we spent on residential costs, 1 million of that were for these JCA youth that were remanded into our custody. So 1/3 of our budget. Sue and I ran numbers last week, and we are on target to surpass that by 50%. Those youth in residential, we've paid or invoiced $750,000. So again, if this continues, we're on target to be billed or invoiced $1.5 million. So I sent correspondence to the judge at that meeting, and I appreciated it, empathized with our plight, and also stated that he, would be willing to do whatever's necessary to help. His contribution to these costs are very minimal. I spoke incorrectly in the past that I thought this year's budget contribution would be $60,000. And in essence, it's $30,000. He's projecting next year it will be $60,000. Historically, in the 90s, and I'm hearing 2000s, and he provided me with this historic information, that the courts would contribute between $20 and $25 a day per child in contribution to this per diem cost. And that ended. And so really what he's been able to budget for this, his contribution has been over the last 3 years, about $28,000 a year again. And he's seen the increased need and has projected or has put in his budget $60,000 for next year. That is very minimal in light of what we're expending on a JFS level. The state of Ohio has recognized the needs for these youth from a multi-system perspective and has allowed us this year to submit for reimbursements for youth, but they have to be Title 4E, correct, Sue?
They just need to be multi-system.
Multi-system youth, but not every child that is in a JCA status is eligible for reimbursement. And even when we are eligible for reimbursement, it's at a rate of, what is it, Sue?
Combined rate around 55%.
About 55% would come back to us. So I say all this to say, we need the court to contribute more, or we would hope that the court could contribute more. I asked for him in correspondence since my meeting, as he starts the budget process for next year, to keep that in mind, to enlighten his successor. And I asked for them to consider in their budget next year a $60 per day contribution in the future. So I'm just being transparent with you. We're trying to look at our budget and what's happening. And again, that's just my ask, or what I was telling him that I think that would really benefit us. But of course, he has to go through the budget process. It has to be reviewed with you all. But I needed to have a starting point somewhere. 60,000 is really minimal for where the needs are. And then that brings me back to today's situation. So in light of this significant increase in the minimal contribution, and please know he knows that I was talking to you all, he offered to advocate or become involved. And I said that I preferred I'd talk to you all about this instead. But I'm wondering if, maybe not in this meeting, if there could be some discussion or consideration about amending his budget to allot more funds for contribution towards these kids. Not pointing the fingers, these kids definitely need intervention when they step out of the attention center, but we have no control other than we can make a recommendation to the courts about where we think the child would be best placed, but ultimately it's the court's decision. And so I enlightened him on the numbers, but there's my dilemma. And so I'm hoping that there would be a consideration, because it would benefit the youth in our custody, for his budget to be amended in some way this year to help us out with these costs. And then also to talk about JFS in future budgets and have us be a significant consideration in lieu of just the minimal contribution now. So I'll be quiet and open and ask you, I'm sure you have questions or concerns or.
Well, I think, yeah, we definitely have concerns, but I understand the importance of what you're saying, Kelly, because our children are our future.
Yeah.
And it's very important that we share the burden with you. It seems like JFS has been shouldering a lot of the burden with not much help.
Right. And I conveyed to him also in my written correspondence, and you all know this because we've been sharing it, when we were no longer eligible to stay in the Protect Ohio status, when that federal waiver went away, I presented to you that we had a loss of $500,000 in the end of 2019. Our loss for 2020 is $1 million. So we're already out the door at a $1 million deficit because 11 or 12 counties, because
I think it's more. I think it's like 19 counties.
so maybe it's 19, but those counties that were Protect Ohio have all lost that funding. And as you recall, I said, they said they're going to provide us with gap funding, and we waited and we waited. We just received correspondence yesterday. I kid you not, I can show you the email date, that they finally, and this is good news, but it doesn't help us in 2020, that they finally projected that there's going to be about, is it 24 million dollars Protect Ohio gap funding. It's over $20 million.
Yeah.
The $20 million is what they identified as funds that they will provide back to the Protect Ohio counties. What we don't know is the formula that they will use. Will it be divided by 19? Will it be based on county size, which is what typically they do? Sue asked follow-up questions to which we're still waiting. Is it going to be an allocation? Are we going to have to spend it and ask for reimbursement? So, I mean, there's nothing we can do, but we've been at a deficit of 1.5 million, which, All Eyes on Children's Services, we've been doing efficient work with less money. And at some point, this cost is the biggest burden to our child welfare budget, far and beyond any other. And again, I'm not minimizing the needs of youth. They absolutely need it. We've been advocating for alternatives, and I'm hoping now that that we've opened up dialogue, that we can collaborate more on alternatives to residential, but it doesn't help us in the here and now. It doesn't help JFS today. Right. We're waiting for that money, and that money will make us whole again, but we can't force the state to give it to us any sooner than when they're going to release it. So this is my dilemma. And again, and the judge states that he understands the plight, but I also understand the history about his budget and other things. And I don't want to get involved as much as I want to be transparent and allow you to know that exactly that it's difficult for us to shoulder this burden all by ourselves at this point.
Now, is it next year that they're going to release that money? Is it next year, 2021 or?
January 2021, Sue said,
Okay.
is when they told us.
Okay.
But even still, that's great for us, but I still think that the court should have a bigger contribution.
Oh, yes, yes.
In the 90s and 2000s, they contributed more then than they're doing now 20 years later. And again, I'm not pointing fingers. I know everybody had budget constraints. I know the opioid epidemic caused a lot of systems to have to crunch numbers, but I would be remiss to not be transparent about this and say, this is not a JFS issue, but it becomes a JFS issue in that we're the ones that have to pay the bills for these youth every month.
But you know, the opioid issue was a big burden for JFS also. I mean.
Absolutely. We were sitting on $2 million
Yeah.
cash balance that dwindled away. When
Right,
we went from 169 kids to 260, we were at a place where we weren't living monthly allocation to monthly allocation. That really knocked us sideways.
right.
And then again, coupled with this residential plight. So there it is.
Yeah,
Well, at least now you're finally getting some money for children's services. Remember when this first started, they were flatlining you guys as far as, yeah, they weren't giving you any extra money to deal with this.
The new initiatives, if they can make those whole after they proposed the reductions, are positive
Yeah.
for us. Absolutely. The Protect Ohio was a complete negative for us. You can't take $1 million out of somebody's budget and, invest new initiatives and not have that available to you. So I'm not in a position to critique the state, but I think it was a poor move. Politics as they are, it puts counties in vulnerable positions, and so there you have it.
Kelly, how much does it cost to actually run that program? I know what you're contributing. How much is it costing to run that program?
From the courts?
Yeah, from the courts and your contribution. What's the total amount?
So you're talking about the residential costs for the JCA youth?
Yeah.
Last year it was $1 million.
Wow.
And then then the contribution last year from the courts was little under 20,000.
wow.
Wow.
And there's nothing in statute that says that courts have to contribute, but historically they do contribute to the costs. And again, as you can see, historically, our court did contribute $20 to $25 a day.
Wow. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for the update. That was very informative. And I have to say, you've always known I'm a fan of yours, but you're so professional, so compassionate. You have so much empathy and confidence. I mean, all of those traits together, and we are so fortunate to have you.
Thank you. Can I ask, is there an opportunity for you all to talk about this further and maybe we revisit this?
Would Judge Berger be in on that conversation, do you think?
I could extend an invitation or
I think that would
I
be
think-
good, Kelly Jo.
could I do that? And
Yes.
and then we could have a conversation about that?
Yes.
That would be perfect. I'm
Yes.
happy to coordinate it and then I can get back to you all.
Sounds
Okay?
good.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you. The last thing was, and I said a memo forthcoming. I did submit a memo to Joanne and Todd regarding CARES relief funds, but we're really ecstatic that we have an opportunity to submit some requests. So I know there's a process and we need to find out what's going to be afforded to us, but just wanted to let you know that we submitted about $336,000 in relief requests based on a number of different factors. We did also use some other JFS information when we developed this, proposing to do some support services for adults and seniors. We had the funds available through TANF to provide those to families, but not to the adult population without dependents. So that was part of it. I'm not going to go item by item, but definitely we spent a number of hours having to repurpose JFS and amend policies and telework and ship computers home. So the fact that these funds are available to us is going to be a godsend,
Yes.
even some portion of them. So again, I didn't submit it to you all, but it's available if you'd like to see it, or Jean also has it, I'm sure. Anything else that you have for me?
No?
No.
Okay. Sue's gonna do her 2 resolutions and I'm gonna social distance out of here. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you so
Kelly
much.
Jo, do we have an
Have a good day.
executive session for you?
You can just hand me the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'll be back. It's yes.
Yeah, you have it.
You
Okay.
wanna do this enough? I'm
So
sorry.
just hand me the phone and then you
Okay.
can stay there and then we won't cross our germs.
You don't have the donation one?
I don't have the donation one, but it should be on this email. Okay, so the first one that I have is just our regular transfer from child welfare, which is 1415, to public assistance to cover shared costs and their payroll costs, cost pool costs that we pay out of 1410 originally in the amount of $165,000. This is payment number 4 for the second quarter of state fiscal year 2020.
Move that the Board of Commissioners agrees to transfer $165,000 from Fund 1415 Child Welfare Special Levy Fund to Fund 1410 Public Assistance Fund.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Amy, sorry.
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
I am trying to find the transfer, the copy of the transfer. I'm not finding it. But it is the second resolution is transfer of our items that we found obsolete, that we would like to donate to area donation centers. And I believe you have a list of those.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Salvation Army committed to taking.
Move that the Board of
Okay, Salvation Army's gonna come and get those items.
Move that the Board of Commissioners declares obsolete and authorize the donation of Portage County Job and Family Services property to area donation centers.
Okay, I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
As always, thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, now I'm ready for executive session. I notified Janet, so I'm not sure if she's coming in or not, or if she's in.
He's here.
Hi, Janet.
I'm here.
Sorry, we did this last.
Move that in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121-22, motion to enter executive session under G1 to consider appointment of a public employee.
I will second.
Roll call, Amy?
Vicky,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Versus.